So the Springboks have been on top of the international rugby pyramid for about the last 6 years, sort of replacing the All Blacks as the team that everyone's chasing / trying to emulate, with a roster of multiple world-class players in key positions that we've never really seen before, coupling that with innovations within the sport at a rapid rate that we haven't really seen in the professional game, with no signs of it slowing down, and with their recent game against Italy illustrating all of the above perfectly, with a dominant win and experimentation all around. But like all teams who win, people are quick to criticise what the Springboks do, and I believe it's all to do with the Springboks and Rassie Erasmus's philosophy on winning. How's this the case? Well, the long and short of it is, rugby has never really been broken down like this before, as I believe Rassie Erasmus is the first coach I've ever seen in any sport who treats it like a competitive gamer. Let's talk about it. So what do I mean by this? Well, from what I've analysed of Rassie Erasmus since he's been involved in the Springboks, he's always been innovative and creative. That is just an objective fact. But it's where he chooses to channel his innovation that fascinates me and reminds me of gamers. He is always exploiting systems, whether it's a defensive system, attacking shape, he will find a weird nuance of what you do and exploit it. And when he does exploit it, it's almost in an emotionless, cold and ruthless way, which led them to victory in the 2019 World Cup. Now, after this victory, you saw a slight change in where Rassie and the Springboks exploited systems. Instead of focusing on the opposition's weaknesses, they started trying to build their own strength and exploit the weaknesses of the game itself, which is cold-blooded and gamer-coded AF, with innovations in substitutions, like reversing the order of subs in the forwards and having your stronger forward pack come on off the bench. Then on top of that, have players come on 30 minutes into matches in the pack, so that you can get a great 10 minutes from them in a crucial moment in the game, just towards the end of the first half, when people are getting tired. Then he gets a 15 to 20 minute break to recharge, and then you basically just have to play 40 minutes as hard as you can. It's genuinely genius. And we saw that genius evolve into using the fact that you have 8 substitutes available to you in a game, and using 7 of those for the forwards, the unit that will be the most fatigued and honestly has the most high intensity workload within a rugby team, giving the Springboks the ability to change out their whole pack save for one player and not have their intensity levels drop at the scrum, breakdown or line-out, which at the test level is humongous and will often be the difference between you winning and losing the game, as the margins at test level are that tight. As well as the old adage of forwards winning you matches and backs deciding by how much, this innovation in my opinion is what won them the 2021 Lions series and honestly cemented them as one of the greatest teams of all time. Now, during this series however, you saw some other innovations that may have been clever but probably rubbed up non-Springbok fans the wrong way. Like the innovation of using the fact that the water boy or physio can be on the pitch during play, and sometimes you just have them encouraging the players or giving moral support, or when Rassie was just straight up the water boy himself so he could chat to his players on the field, which honestly I don't mind either of them, but both of those things happen all the time in the semi-pro game. Nobody seems to care or mind, so no issues for me there. But what I did take issue with, so much so that I made a video on it at the time, was Rassie's treatment of the officiating, doing a full TED talk essentially of every cool miss during the game, and to me it was just a real bummer and it left a bad taste in my mouth, despite understanding his rationale, which is if I put pressure on the referee, they're more likely to look out for the minor things that don't get called in games, and more than likely they will be skewed in our favour, as refs are only human. But it was the first time you saw the other side of the Springboks, and Rassie's specifically's philosophy on winning, which is we will do anything to win. Anything. Nothing is off limits, and sometimes that will result in a cool innovation like 7-1 splits and line-out lifts in the middle of face play, but it can also result in stuff that can be perceived as not in the spirit of the game, let's say. With their recent use of a short kickoff to get a scrum on the halfway line against Italy, the ethics of that still being debated, and their use of the option to go for a scrum off a mark being outlawed after the 2023 World Cup. Like a gamer, if there's a loophole or a glitch in the system, they're not going to hesitate. It reminds me of the energy of that Family Guy meme where Peter and Cleveland are playing a basketball game and Peter just keeps hitting corner threes. Like, if you play the game as it was intended to be played, we'd have more upsets, but if you just spam certain moves, e.g. scrums, and you can't deal with it, then they'll probably win, as it's a strength of theirs. And as the opposition, you can get a little in your feelings and be like, stop cheating, that's not fair. But the Springboks philosophy, and why I believe people get so wound up by it all, is that they are both the best team in the world and the most cunning. And screw you if you don't like what we do, they genuinely don't care as long as they win. They, in many ways, are kind of like the game Ghost of Tsushima. Allow me to elaborate. The game Ghost of Tsushima follows a young samurai during the Mongolian invasion of Japan on the Isle of Tsushima, where the Mongols oppose the samurai in every way with dishonorable tactics and warfare, and our main character decides that to combat this foe, he must resort to less than honorable methods, and to become the Ghost. Someone who poisons and punishes people to strike fear into the enemy, and always tries to catch them off guard, which eventually leads to a conflict with his own family and people due to this not being the traditional way to wage war. And if you're not reading between the lines yet, I believe the Springboks mindset, like the Ghosts, is that the ends justify the means. They have conquered the world twice now, with no sign of slowing down. So why would you even want to change? The world will think what they think, but like I've said before, winning is all that matters. Rassie will inspire his team in whatever way he deems the best, and has a bit of a siege mentality where it's always them against the world, which both inspires and feeds into his innovations, so much so that I believe no other team really can do what South Africa do, because I believe no other team believes in their coach like they do. It's a culture unique to them that can be imitated, but I don't really think it can be truly replicated. And like the Ghost, I don't believe they will care what others think, because this is how they win. Signed NGJ.